Hello, listeners. Jordan here. I just want to let you know that you can listen to Nighttime early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
You are listening to Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup by the Nighttime Podcast.
Handsome Air and Airport. We're back to Keep Canada Weird, the only job I think we're qualified or capable of.
Yeah. Some argue that we're not qualified to do this, but we're doing it.
As we'll see, because I'm looking at the show notes here, and our first kind of topic is corrections from last week's episode. But before we get into the corrections, let's introduce our special drinks. I'm not even going to ask how you are because I'm so excited for Coca-Cola Orange Cream Flavored Pop. This is the Orange Creamsicle of Coca-Cola. It's a brand new flavor. I posted a photo up of it on my Instagram, and I've got like probably 25 messages saying, "Where did you get that?" Followed by, "How was it?" The answer, Walmart. And the other answer, delicious. This is like the best pop I've had in a long time. I'm usually a Pepsi guy, but when you make Orange Creamsicle pop, I'm here for it. That's what it tastes like, an orange creamsicle with a hint of cola.
Yeah.
That's a damn good pop, and I don't say that lightly.
Wow, that's impressive. I like the design of the can. It almost looks like it's on fire.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a retro vibe.
Yeah.
It's like red on the bottom, orange on the top. That's what caught my eye as I walked through the aisles of that hellscape Walmart. I saw this can, and I said, "What the hell is that?"
Well, good for you. I'm really happy for you. That's great.
Good. What do you got over there?
Well, I got something different. I have a Maison Perrier France Forever Lime sparkling water.
So I've never heard an Anglophone attempt to pronounce the name of that brand.
What did you call me?
I called you an Anglophone.
I see.
That's
Well,
correct, right? That means speaks English only.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Just making sure, because it seems like we made some mistakes last week.
Did
We got
we?
some voicemails about it. Yeah, well, not necessarily.
Well, let me crack open my special
Yeah,
drink
sorry.
here.
Put the cart in front of the horse.
Yeah. Easy now. I watched you drink yours. Now you damn well watch me drink mine.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
We're
Refreshing.
all watered up now. We're ready to rock into our corrections. The first correction we have came by way of a voicemail from a listener named Ted. Ted's actually in Boston, as you'll hear him describe, and he had some thoughts about our commentary surrounding the Tim Hortons Super Bowl ad. Specifically, Ted, the fact checker nobody asked for, wanted to correct some facts.
Hello, Aaron and Jordan. This is your friendly neighborhood Super Bowl commercial fact checker here. It's Ted calling from Boston, Massachusetts, a former Canadian citizen / resident. Anyway, I was listening to the latest episode of the Keep Canada Weird podcast and had a good chuckle at your lack of football knowledge and very, very extreme lack of knowledge of how much a Super Bowl ad costs. You suggested that it could be hundreds of millions of dollars, when in actuality, a 30-second spot for this year's Super Bowl was about $8 million. $8 million is a lot of money, and I agree that Tim Hortons would not be spending that kind of money advertising to a global audience when there are very few locations of Tim Hortons in the US. So that ad, I'm assuming, was just in Canada because I did not see it here in the US. But hundreds of millions of dollars versus $8 million, you guys are wrong sometimes, maybe often, but this time takes it to a whole new level. Anyway, guys, thought it was my duty as the official fact-checking Super Bowl advertise coster of the Nighttime / Keep Canada Weird podcast that I needed to update you on this situation. Keeping it weird, guys. Thanks.
Straight out of the gate, I just want to say a fact checker is the last thing we want or need.
And the listening audience doesn't want it either. They like that we shoot from the hip, and we don't care if we're right or wrong, or if it's real or if it's made up or whatever it is. We're just here to keep it weird.
Yeah.
We're not here to keep it right.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good way to put it. I don't remember like the idea that a Super Bowl ad would cost hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't know if you said that or if I said
It
that.
was you.
Did I?
It was
I
100%
probably
you.
was
Yeah.
like
I would
exaggerating.
never say such an outlandishly wrong statement
Oh, you knew, hey?
in my, it's, oh, I knew. I was like, oh my God, he is so off on that. What a complete idiot.
Ted, I'm glad you corrected us. I'm not good, I guess. I'm happy to hear from you.
I'm so
But
happy. Yeah.
let me
Yeah.
just say, I'm happy to hear from you, Ted.
Yeah. Keep it real, Ted. But sometimes keep your fact checking to yourself. Sometimes.
We're going to open the show with corrections. We heard from Ted, but it's not just corrections for us. A listener is correcting something someone said in a voicemail last week. I'm just going to play it here. This is interesting. I think you'll know what's going on here.
Okay.
Hi there. I'm just sending a message from Manitoba, listening to your Keep Canada Weird episode from February 14th. I just wanted to send a comment to John, who sent his message regarding Ziploc bags. I don't know who wants to break it to John. However, he lives in Calgary, Alberta, not in Calgary, BC. This might be a news flash to him, so break it to him gently.
I love what we do here.
Yeah,
When it's like John who left the voicemail about the Ziploc bags doesn't know where Calgary is. Do you want to explain what's happening there?
Well, I don't know what's happening. I don't really remember. I remember the Ziploc bag conversation. I remember John called in. He had concerns about if we were reusing and cleaning the Ziploc bags after we were putting many things in them. But
there's so many layers to this correction. What happened was a long time ago, I described the premier of Alberta as being the premier of British Columbia. I misspoke, and somebody sent like a voicemail about like how I need to get out more and we need to learn more about the country and so on. And I think that they said they were from Calgary, and in being kind of like laughing off their criticism of me, I refer to it as Calgary, BC. But I did it very dry and sarcastically, so not a lot of people got that joke. John last week clearly did, because when he sent his voicemail, he described himself as being from Calgary, BC. So there's several layers to that, and he did it.
That's good. I'm glad you pointed that out, because I never would have picked up on that, to be honest. That was a very good delivery for John to sneak that past me. That's great.
And a very dry delivery that most people wouldn't get, which is... Keep Canada Weird is like when you watch some cartoons with your kids, let's say, there are certain jokes for the children that the show is geared towards, but there's other more subtle jokes kind of floating above or below the surface for the adults are sitting and watching. I think that's kind of how I see Keep Canada Weird. A casual viewer will come and get into the weird news stories from the week, but people who tune in every week will get the kind of the subtleties and the jokes that kind of, or the bits or whatever you want to call them, that play out over the period of several weeks. And I enjoy that. Mm-hmm. Enough of this, enough corrections for 1 week. We got a lot to get into tonight. Canada has been more than weird over the past week, and we have some of the best stories pulled out of the weird week to celebrate tonight. Not only did we make some mistakes, Canada Post also made some mistakes. And I want to start with that story tonight. I don't know if you saw the story about the decades old letter that's been making the rounds, but imagine checking your mailbox and finding a letter that's been postmarked from 1999. That's exactly what happened to an Edmonton man this week when a piece of mail that was sent to him over 25 years ago finally arrived. Here's the story of the decades-old letter.
Since the advent of instant communication and email, traditional mail has taken the back seat. It's slower, but in the case of Warren Wusheni's latest letter, the process took 26 years. The letter was from his cousin Shannon Shade, who at the time was living in Nanaimo.
She wrote, "Hello everyone, thanks for the birthday card, hope to see you soon," and from Shannon, right? From Carlton Cards, so I don't even think they're around anymore.
Shannon is now in Calgary and remembers the exchange.
I get slack for not sending cards to family a lot, and clearly I do send them, and they just need to be a lot more patient, apparently.
When the letter first arrived, Warren thought it was a scam. But after confirming it with Shannon, it's now more of a piece of the family history. It reminds Warren of a different era.
Back then, lots of family members would write letters to each other longhand because nobody really, email was just coming out and not everybody had computers at the time.
If an actual snail was delivering the message from Nanaimo to Edmonton, it would have just taken over 3 years, around an eighth of the time that it actually took.
The universe and Canada Post work in mysterious ways, right? And who knows what happened to this letter.
Canada Post says if the letter did not come with a service letter, that it was likely discovered and re-entered into the mail system. They said in a statement to Global News, "Our operations teams have seen occasions where customers find mail tucked away or lost in a house they've moved into, so the customer will put it back into the mail stream." Warren intends to deliver the message back to Shannon in a Christmas card.
Maybe 25 years from now, she'll get it back, right?
It's a weird story, right?
I just wonder the employee who found the letter in the corner or wherever they found it, and then the decision they made to should I still mail this thing?
Yeah. Or did I get away with the negligence?
Well, that employee wouldn't have been the one that lost that letter initially. I mean, that was back in '99.
That's true.
So
yeah, I would think it could have been if it was an employee that found it, it's probably best after that amount of time to let sleeping dogs lie. But I don't think this was an employee. I don't know if you kind of caught this in the article, is what Canada Post said. If something like that happened, I don't know, it was found within the sorting facility, stuck in a machine or something, it would include some kind of service letter that was explaining what happened. But what Canada Post seems to be suggesting is that somebody put this back into the mail system. Maybe somebody found it in a cupboard or something and it wasn't their mail, so they dropped it in a mailbox and it made its way through.
Oh, so it left the post office, ended up at the wrong house or the wrong address. That person eventually just put it back into the system.
I guess. It seems to be that's what Canada Post is suggesting. But 25 years, why would... let's say you buy this house and you found a 25-year-old unopened letter up in a cupboard or under the stairs or something, I can't imagine you would be I'm going to bring this to one of those red mailbox things and drop it in and get this to whoever owns it, blow the dust off it and carry it down. That seems pretty weird.
Yeah. It wouldn't be my thought. I would open it and read it and then throw it in the garbage.
Post photos of it online or something.
No, I wouldn't even do that.
I had a kind of a weird experience, but nothing as crazy as this. But this past November, my mom was in Italy, and she sent me some postcards. And just last week, actually, I was checking the mail, and I found one of the postcards that was sent in November. We're recording this in February, so it's 3 months later. But even that, I was whoa, this is crazy. How did it take 3 months to get here? It must have got lost in one of the mail trucks and they found it and whatever. And then, now here we are with a 25-year-old example of this.
Yeah. If the message was more romantic or more important, I would have then gone out of my way to get that letter to whoever the
Yeah, it just seemed like a kind of a mundane letter. Thanks for sending me your letter, and here's another.
Thanks for sending me a card. Here's a card to say thank you for the card, essentially. But if it said something like, "My dearest Jordan, I've always wanted to tell you that I've been in love with you this entire time and never found the words to say, but I just needed to let you know in this letter." And then
I will never bring it up again. If you don't respond, I will never bring it up, and I'll continue to work with you on your podcast as co-host of Keep Canada Weird.
Yes, pretending that I'm not so madly, deeply in love with you and your special cream soda drinks.
Ah, man, I don't miss those days. There's a lot that I reminisce about and look back at with nostalgia from the good old days. Writing letters certainly isn't one. I would hate to, if I had something to say to you and I couldn't call you, I would hate to have to write it out and mail it and wait a month for you to write me back.
Right. I do enjoy writing a letter, but the issue is spelling. I want to make sure that so if I do want to handwrite something, if it's a personal message to somebody, I'll type it out on the computer first, let spell check do its thing, and then I'll copy it from the computer.
Yeah, we take so much stuff for granted now. One thing we don't take for granted is weird Canadian crime stories. We're going to have a short ad break, and when we get back here, we have not one, not two, but three dumb Canadian criminals to discuss. Aaron, before we get to the dumb Canadian criminals that were in the news over the last week, I want to start with an allegation that you, in fact, may be a dumb Canadian criminal. Listen to this allegation singling you out as the Santa Claus beater from last week's episode.
Okay.
Breaking news. Keep Canada Weird fans are fully convinced that Aaron Airport is the Santa Killer. He started the February 14th show by stating to everyone that he would use his giant snow brush to bash someone's head in. Then we hear of the tragic story of Santa's murder. Aaron Airport went into such detail that only the person there would know. We've all seen crime dramas, and police believe the guilty always have details only they would know. Aaron, your guilt is palpable, and the RCMP are coming for you, as stated by the local detachment leader, Benton Fraser. Your correspondent, Jason Maggio from Regina, Ontario. Keep it weird, boys.
Did you catch from Regina, Ontario?
Did I catch that? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Subtle. But do you want to defend yourself? You got anything to say about this?
Well, yeah, I do keep a heavy duty snow brush in case I have to cave somebody's skull in. Did I kill Santa Claus? I'll say no officially.
Okay.
I'd like to, for the record, state that I did not hurt, maim, or kill Santa Claus. But off the record, that's a different situation.
Okay, I thought so. Because when you described your theory on what happened in last week's episode related to the beating of the Santa Claus, it did seem pretty specific. So I think I'm on the listener's side. Well, let's get into it. We got some dumb Canadian criminals to get into. The first one I'm really excited about because this is a roller coaster ride. It's a lawsuit related to a golden eagle. Nearly a decade after a jewel-encrusted solid gold eagle vanished in one of Vancouver's strangest crimes, the case is still captivating news watchers. The so-called Maltese eagle, valued anywhere between $1 and $9 million, was allegedly stolen back in 2016 in a dramatic attack on its owner, Ron Shore. Since then, the case has seen accusations, lawsuits, insurance disputes, but what it hasn't seen is any sign of the missing treasure. Here comes the story of the golden Maltese eagle.
Ostentatious, gaudy even, this bejeweled eagle made of gold, the subject of a lawsuit stretching back more than 6 years.
The golden eagle and the world's greatest treasure.
The large bauble was owned by Ron Shore. The entrepreneur planned to use the sale of this trinket to fund a charity treasure hunt he had created to support cancer research. But the bird was boosted.
I received 6 stitches to the head. There was substantial bleeding. I have substantial road rash on the side of my knee.
2 unidentified thugs allegedly smashed Ron on the head and snatched the backpack it was being transported in, driving off in a dark-colored SUV. The Delta Police took on the file.
We are working and taking every possible step we can to locate the individuals responsible and return the golden eagle to Mr. Shore.
Since the alleged theft, Shore has been suing the insurance companies who denied his $1 million claim. This week in BC Supreme Court, the insurers tried to have the suit tossed out, claiming there had been an unreasonable delay. Court records indicate Shore has done little to advance the case in the last 6.5 years, pleading financial issues. Justice Warren writing that the delays have been inordinate and inexcusable, but ultimately allowed Shore to continue.
We reached out to Mr. Shore through his attorney. Both declined to comment on this judgment. At the time of the theft, though, the self-proclaimed treasure hunter was offering a significant reward for the eagle's return.
I would also like to offer at this point a $10,000 reward leading to the return of the golden eagle.
While the insurance case stalls, The police investigation has also hit a wall. According to the Delta Police, the case remains unsolved, and no one has come forward with any information.
How the heck do we start with that? There was so much in that article. It comes across as like a bit of maybe it could be a comedy movie with like someone like Will Ferrell or John Candy playing the part of Ron Shore, the creator and owner of the Golden Eagle.
Yeah, so he's suing the insurance companies because I assume the insurance company won't pay up in terms of
It seems like the dispute there seems like there's multiple disputes because I found a bunch of articles about this. I had never heard of this story, but it seems like there's a dispute over the value of this thing. Even in my intro there, I said ranging in value anywhere from $1 to $9 million. It looks like the man who owned it, who had it built to form some kind of treasure hunt to raise money for cancer research, which seems really, the whole thing seems bizarre. He's made statements saying it's valued up to $9 million, but in the current lawsuit, it seems they've settled on a value of $1 million. It seems currently the insurance company is trying to get out of paying any claim or having a court case tossed out because of the amount of time that has passed. But I feel like there has to be more to it. The insurer, I wonder if they're doubting his story, because I am.
Yeah, I that's what I want to know more about from this story is the insurance company's side of it. They didn't really get into that. They just kind of touched on the fact that he was suing the insurance company and left it at that. But I would really like to know the insurance company's point of view, why they made the decisions that they did, and
Yeah,
how
what's
it's all
preventing
playing
them?
out. Yeah.
Yeah, what's preventing them from paying? Because I think that would definitely shine a light on it. Do they have doubts that it was stolen and it wasn't like an inside job? Because I will say he seems like an odd guy. He's an author treasure hunter who funded a roughly $1 million gold eagle with like a diamond encrusted head, with plans of creating like the world's best treasure hunt and to raise money for cancer. Like it's just so weird. And then even the way he was on the news describing like getting hit over the head by these people, these masked men, it swooped down and took the gold eagle out of his backpack. It all seems like a publicity stunt gone wrong. But here we are 10 years later and he's still fighting it out in court. So that kind of makes me think maybe it is credible. I don't know. It's a weird one.
Yeah, I don't really sway either way with this because I can't really wrap my mind around his motive to fake it being stolen, and I can't. But at the same time, like the people who, if the theft of it is real and we take it all at face value, who are these people that took it? Were they sitting there waiting for him to bring it out, and he's got it in a backpack, and it's worth all this money? Like, it's such a strange way to transport something so seemingly valuable.
Yeah, it is all odd. It would have to be someone who, well, I guess he was probably publicizing what he was doing. So I don't really know what was going on at the time, but maybe he was connected to this item and didn't have the appropriate security, carrying a $1 to $9 million gold eagle. And whether you want the eagle or not, you could easily take something like that and have it melted down. If it is solid gold, it'd be worth a lot of money. His $10,000 reward seems silly.
Yeah, it seems a little low to me.
More than a little. It seems a lot low. If it costs over $100 million to put an ad on the Super Bowl, I'm joking. It's just 10,000 seems like it's going to take more money than that to get someone to talk, and obviously it hasn't happened.
Yeah, and these individuals have baseball bats, right? So if I'm going to confront them, I want more than $10,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of classified this as a dumb Canadian criminal. If it is this elaborate heist, then they're not necessarily dumb criminals, and they got away with it. I think what makes this a dumb Canadian crime story is just the fact that it's a golden eagle with a diamond encrusted head. That's just so tacky.
Yeah, and the fact that you clearly don't like this man.
I just find him strange. It strikes me as like the kind of guy he's going to appear on the TV show The Curse of Oak Island with this elaborate theory that involves his Maltese eagle.
He's one of those. He's in the war room with his PowerPoint up, going through his theory about whoever stole whatever and then brought it to Oak Island.
Yeah, that's how it strikes me. But let's move on to another story. This is a short but sweet one. I think this one is well suited for the newsboy. I don't want to hear any argument. If the newsboy is near you, just pass him the microphone and he can introduce this story.
Okay. Extra, read all about it. Ottawa Valley man arrested after shooting at car to silence alarm.
An Ottawa Valley man is facing several charges after allegedly taking matters into his own hands to stop a car alarm from blaring late Wednesday night. The Ontario Provincial Police responded to a call around 11:45 p.m. in Whitewater region where a resident reported hearing both a car alarm and gunshots. Upon investigation, it was revealed that the alarm had been going off for some time when the man fired shots at an unoccupied vehicle, causing significant damage. Fortunately, no one was injured. A 49-year-old man has been arrested and charged with careless use of a firearm, unauthorized possession of a firearm, possession of a weapon for dangerous purposes, and mischief over $5,000. Police also seized 3 long guns. The identity of the accused, and this may be a very important part, the identity of the accused is being withheld to protect the victim's privacy as the incident involved neighbors.
Why would that matter as to why their identity would be withheld? Because they're neighbors.
I guess like the person whose car alarm went off and had their car shot up, they're protected. Will revealing the perpetrator of that cause like vigilantism, like vigilantes to find whose car it was that got shot? Like, I just don't see what the risk is for the person who is the victim of this.
No, I don't see it at all. But maybe there's details of this we don't know.
Yeah, maybe there's more to it, but I think this is kind of like the story of, or your theory on the Santa Claus attack in last week's episode. I think this is just someone who had a bad day, probably wanted to get to bed or couldn't sleep. This car alarm was going off for hours, and I don't know. I think I would probably just scream curses out my window before I shot the car. Because I don't think shooting the car will turn off the alarm unless you shoot it with like a bazooka or something like that. I think this guy lost his cool. The 49-year-old unnamed perpetrator of this.
It's all going to boil down to what the perpetrator was doing in their house before they decided to take matters into their own hands. Like, what were they working on? Was it a project? And they were really trying to focus, like they had a deadline, and the car alarm wouldn't stop. And it was going on for hours and hours. And maybe they were editing a podcast.
Or recording one. And I could see that being an issue. Maybe they had a live appearance. They were being interviewed on a podcast and they needed silence. But here's the thing is, this happened at 11:45 at night. Most communities will have bylaws about noise. And I would assume a car alarm, if it was going off for any length of time, you could call bylaw enforcement and they could do something. But then again, it's not like bylaw enforcement is going to send.
No, they're not going to send officers down to investigate that. Or maybe they will. I don't know. But
if they did, it would take a while.
But why was the person who owned the car not turning their alarm off?
Not only did they not turn the car off, you can't even name the perpetrator of this for fear of revealing the identity of the owner of the car. Is it like Justin Trudeau's car or something?
Oh, I don't know. It could be.
It may be.
But yeah, there's a lot of unanswered aspects to this story that just leave it. We can't really solve it right now.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think so. But I know a story we can solve. We don't have to solve it. It's already solved itself. For whatever reason, something we've talked a lot about on this show over the last year or so is like Facebook online marketplace type scams and concert tickets. Those are two, like maybe it's because Taylor Swift brought Eras Tour to Canada and Facebook scammers have been Facebook scamming, but those kind of two storylines have played out quite a bit over the last little bit. And there's a news story that I was just been reading over the past week that involves a notorious ticket scammer known as Todd the Fraud, who was not only busted, but ended up pleading guilty last week. A Collingwood man accused of scamming people out of thousands of dollars for VIP hockey and concert tickets has pled guilty to fraud over $5,000. 45-year-old Todd Guthrie, dubbed Todd the Fraud, was first arrested in 2023 after multiple victims came forward claiming they paid for high-demand tickets that never arrived. The case was finally decided on just this past week. Let's listen in on it.
Todd Guthrie pleaded guilty today inside a Collingwood courtroom to committing fraud over $5,000. Guthrie's bare plea before Justice Esther Rosenberg came without a reading of the facts as the court ordered a pre-sentence report to help the sentencing judge gain insight into Guthrie's personal history. Guthrie, who is 45 years old and from Collingwood, has been in custody for about a month now after he was arrested on 2 new charges of fraud under $5,000. Guthrie was first arrested last year, accused by about a dozen people. A handful told CTV News they paid Guthrie money for highly sought-after hockey and concert tickets they say he never delivered. The charges have been addressed monthly ever since in courtrooms in Collingwood, Bracebridge and Barrie, and included several counts of both fraud under and over $5,000, along with allegations of deception under false pretenses. It's believed Guthrie used the money to feed a gambling addiction. Today, Guthrie admitted to the single amended count of the most serious fraud offense, alleging that between June and the end of December in 2023, Guthrie defrauded persons in Collingwood, Orillia, and elsewhere in Ontario of more than $5,000. His lawyer, Emily Dyer, declined to comment on the guilty plea. Guthrie's next appearance is scheduled for late March. When it's expected, the court will hear the agreed statement of facts. The other allegations against Guthrie have not been tested in court.
The weirdest part of that story, they show it in the news clip, but they don't say it verbally, is it shows several images of telephone poles around that area with his Facebook profile printed out with Todd the Fraud written on it. So it seems like there was a campaign to try to protect other members of the Collingwood area, other Facebook users in the Collingwood area from falling victim to Todd the Fraud's ticket schemes.
Yeah, it's rare that you see someone who is a fraudster actually get caught and prosecuted.
Yeah, I love it. This reminds me a little bit of the story we did. I think it may have been last Christmas. It was someone who organized a Christmas craft fair and had all the vendors' money and all this stuff and blew it all and was then facing justice. But if I remember correctly, that was also a gambling debt.
Gambling, so it's kind of fueling people to get into frauding other people. And it's weird because it does give me, excuse me, it does give me like a bit of an ounce of sympathy for them, you know?
Yeah, it's an addiction. It can be an addiction.
Yeah, it absolutely is an addiction, just like, alcohol is an addiction and just like anything else. So it really can be something that people get lost up in and can't control, can't find their way out, and start resorting to desperate measures to try and get ahead of it.
Yeah, it is kind of sad. It's another thing with, unlike alcohol, let's say if you're addicted to alcohol, you could just not have it in the house, maybe to help prevent cravings or whatever it is. But with gambling, it's like it's everywhere now because it's so it's online, like sport gambling and all this other stuff.
Well, I don't think alcohol, you can just not have it in the house. It's a lot more intense than that.
Yeah.
When you're an alcoholic, you'll do anything for it.
Yeah.
You can't
lie, cheat, steal, even to yourself.
Yeah.
With gambling, I can imagine as well if you have that addiction and you're already getting into trouble, maybe like using money you shouldn't be for that, and you're starting to lose it. The addiction's probably like, you can win it back. Just get a bit more money. We're going to win it back. We'll pay off those people, and and then all of a sudden you're just buried up to your neck in people saying, "Where's the money for my Taylor Swift tickets?"
Yeah, and you win enough in gambling that it keeps you motivated and starving for more, because you're always thinking that that next big win is just around the corner. But yeah.
Are we going to say this guy's a dumb Canadian criminal?
I don't know if I feel right saying this guy is a dumb Canadian criminal. I don't know if I put this one in that category. I think there's more layers to it than that. Because I look at a dumb criminal where it's like you can't find the motivation for the crime, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, stealing butter tarts.
How they commit the crime also doesn't make any sense. This one lines up. The individual has a gambling addiction, and in order to fuel that addiction, they had to resort to frauding people.
I think you're right. I think I agree with you. There's a first time for everything.
Yeah, we agree enough, I think.
I think we're probably like 75% in agreement. And sometimes I don't agree with you just to
spite me?
Just to spite you, yeah. But this is a sincere agreement. I agree.
Okay,
Todd the Fraud, you shouldn't have anybody's money in your care.
No. Todd needs to obviously
take a little
seek
break.
Counseling and go through take accountability for the actions and the crimes and everything, and then work to beat the addiction.
Wow. That's like you're talking like a man with life experience here. You know what I think? We called this segment "Dumb Canadian Criminals." It seems more like it's complicated Canadian crimes, is what that should have been.
Yeah, I like that. Complicated Canadian crimes.
Okay,
we're coming up with new podcast ideas all the time. Entirely tires, complicated Canadian crimes.
The Keep Canada Weird rant room. Mm-hmm. While we think about other ideas, let's take a quick ad break. When we get back, I promise I have something uniquely weird and unusual to discuss. And it involves an old lady at an arcade. Aaron, I promise you something uniquely weird and unusual. I got it for you. This is the story of an 83-year-old that's referred to by some as the Dream Crusher. We like stories with senior citizens. We've covered a few on this show. This one's special, though. For an 83-year-old woman, an arcade may seem like an unusual hangout. But for the past 3 years, it's become one of Phyllis Stark of Edmonton's favorite places. Here's the story of the 83-year-old pinball addict, referred to as the Dream Crusher.
An arcade may seem like an unlikely place for a senior, but once a month, this is where you'll find Phyllis Stark. The 83-year-old started playing pinball about 3 years ago.
I understood pinball a little bit because the kids used to play it. I didn't.
It was Phyllis's daughter, Chrissy, that introduced her to the game.
Brought my mom to pinball kind of as a sidekick. I didn't know if she'd like it.
Every time there's pinball, it's a standing date. We have dinner and we come to pinball.
Now the pair are regular players in the Women's Pinball League.
I think it's a blast. I think seniors would really enjoy pinball if they had the opportunities.
Phyllis even joked she tried to convince the retirement manor where she previously lived to do a seniors trip to an arcade.
I think they'd have fun if they came here for an afternoon and played pinball, but that's my feeling because I like the game.
Phyllis is still honing her flipping skills.
When she loses, she's the best sport I've ever played with.
She has won several games.
I call her the Dream Crusher.
A nickname because some of those wins were against the more competitive players in the group.
It's true. I beat Brenda and I beat Amy. And I think I even beat you at one time.
Fortunately for this reporter, Phyllis didn't take the win while the camera was there.
I'm competitive in the fact that I want to do my best.
I often find like the stories about the seniors sweet. Was that a sweet one?
Yeah, we're very pro seniors here on the podcast, or are we? What do you think? I'm trying to think back to
certainly.
Yeah, have we always reacted positively to stories about seniors?
We I think we have. We've done many greeting card people. We went to
remember.
Yeah, you ripped into them. But remember there was one that was like a 103-year-old's birthday party that we were quite impressed with. She kept falling asleep during her party, it seemed. No, I love this sort of thing. And I'm close to my grandma.
But they don't always get a free pass. That's what we've proven.
No, it's not a given. It's just they always.
Yeah. Just because you're a senior doesn't mean that we're going to go easy on you.
I think I have a tendency to prefer older women than older men for the most part. The women seem cuter. Oh, wait, this sounds weird. Let me back this up.
Women seem cuter. Okay. What else do you like?
Here's the thing: is I have a aged grandmother. My grandmother, I think, is 93 years old. She lives in a senior's home, and she's always doing like little events that bring so much meaning into her life and happiness into her life. She uses VR a lot, the VR headset. They have one at the nursing home that she's in. And when I see a story like this, I just like to see that someone later in life is out experiencing the world, experiencing life, trying new things.
Yeah, that's what you like.
I'm happy for Phyllis.
Yeah, you like that.
Yeah. I see, like I don't know if this is what empathy is, but when I see this story, I think of my grandmother and I'm like, oh, my grandmother would also love this.
Yeah. You like watching the elderly. You do. Come on.
Go on.
Yeah. You like watching them have fun.
I like talking to them, honestly.
Yeah,
I find
you like talking to them. You like watching them have fun, watching them be out and about, doing activities. You enjoy it.
Yeah, I find the elderly, especially like up in the when I say like a senior, I'm what we're talking about here is like 80, 90-year-olds. I find it's a lot like kids. They're just like they're honest. They don't waste like they say what they're thinking and they're almost like act on impulse to an extent. I find this 83-year-old yeah, I like this story. This is a nice story. I'm glad. I didn't know a pinball league was a thing. Apparently it is. I'm glad she found it. I will say, though, I would hate to work at the pinball league on the day that the seniors from that nursing home end up showing up if Phyllis does convince them, because I feel like that would be a long shift.
Why?
Well, because they won't know how to do anything. Like, how do I get those things?
Now, I'm starting to find this to be a bit hypocritical. You were just praising senior citizens, and then now you're saying that they're incapable of learning.
I don't think they're incapable of learning, but I think I don't have the patience to be the one to teach them.
You just want to watch.
I want them to already, just like kids, I want them to already know the routine and stuff before I'm around. Like...
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about when you get a call from like, I don't know, your mom or something and she needs help with something computer related?
Yeah.
Does that happen to you? Okay, because my mom is, I just want to rant. This is going to be the rant section.
This is the rant section, yeah. I love how this has quickly turned into a rant section. This lovely woman is playing pinball and enjoying life, and now it's Jordan's rant.
My mother is very interested in technology and tries to use it as a way to make her life easier and more efficient and automated. But rather than it being like a crutch or something that benefits her, I feel like she's burdened by technology. So my mother is forever dealing with like her Alexas, and I can't get the lights on and off, and the voicemail is doing weird stuff in my Facebook account. It drives me crazy.
Okay.
I love my mother dearly, though. I'm just going to say that. But I don't want to help her with any kind of technology stuff.
What about when you need help? Because at a certain point in time, when you're older, you're going to see technology pass you and pass your abilities to keep up with it. And then you're going to need help. So what are you going to do? Who are you going to turn to?
Yeah, I hope other people are better people than me.
Well, there's probably somebody who's watching you, and then they're going to come over and they're going to help you because they like to watch you and they like to help you.
What are you trying to say?
You like watching senior citizens have fun.
I do enjoy it.
You do. I know you do. You admitted it and you like it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
and I'm not
it's
suggesting that it's strange or unusual. It's nice
or antisocial in any way.
No, it's so nice and normal, and I think it's great for you that you have something that you enjoy. You like watching the elderly, and you don't like helping them, but you do like watching them.
All right.
So someone will watch you someday.
Okay. Let's move. I feel like this is getting creepy. So let's move from this to something that isn't creepy. We have a voicemail from Sarah, a correspondent who is recording this from inside a women's washroom in British Columbia.
Oh.
Here it comes.
Okay.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. This is Sarah from Seattle, but I'm coming to you from the bathroom of the Souk Brewing Co. in Souk, BC, because we are on vacation. And as we were coming off of the ferry and driving out this direction, we drove through Sydney, BC, and I saw more rabbits on the side of the road than I have ever seen in my entire life. Big, giant, beautiful rabbits everywhere, like a dozen of them, just in a half mile as we drove down the road. And as my family was overwhelmed with the excitement of seeing this many rabbits, I stopped and I said, I think I know about this. And I thought of the animal uprising, and I'm almost positive that there was an episode in which there was some sort of Sydney, BC rabbit overtaking, and I can't go back at this moment and find it, but if I'm correct, then I have an incredible memory, and if not, I've daydreamed Keep Canada Weird episodes that don't exist, which is also kind of rad. So, happy Family Day from here in Canada, fellow people currently in Canada, and thanks for being great. I will continue to listen as long as Canada continues to be weird. Thank you. Goodbye.
What was the relevance of her having to explain that she was in the bathroom? Because I thought maybe she was going to say, and I saw this phone number, and it said for a good time called Jordan Bus Stop Bonaparte, carved in the wall, of the stall. That's where I kind of thought it was going, because she specifically mentions at the very top, like, I'm calling from the bathroom because I'm stuck in here because out in the restaurant there's a bunch of rabbits.
That's a good point. That seems irrelevant, but maybe it's her way of saying, I just ducked out from what I was doing to record you a quick message. She could have just said,
I like that she's in the bathroom recording the voicemail, because it does add a sprinkle of weirdness to the message. But I always wanted to do a bathroom review podcast.
Where you review public washrooms?
Not just public washrooms, like people who I interview. I go in and use their bathroom, and then I review it with them.
People that you interview. So this is who do you interview?
Well, say I interview you. My guest on Here's the Best Part. The name of the podcast is called Dear John.
Oh, and it would have to be an in-person, like you couldn't do it remotely. Unless I brought my camera, we're on Zoom and I could bring it into the bathroom.
Yeah, but this idea came up pre-COVID. So I had thought I would go to someone's house and I would interview them, and I would do public bathrooms. Like, I'd like, say at a really nice restaurant, I'd interview the staff and the manager, and then I'd lead up to going to use their bathroom. And so I would actually use their bathroom, and then I come out and I review it on the podcast. And on the website, you can see pictures, of the bathroom and stuff to kind of highlight the points.
I think it could work. You could, if anyone could pull it off, it could be you. I probably wouldn't be I don't know who would be the target demographic. I could see an interior designer would kind of be interested on how it was designed. A plumber maybe would have a lot to say.
Yeah, there could be a few different angles. For me, it's functionality and placement is what I would have the most to say about somebody's bathroom. Because I do think about that a lot when I'm using a bathroom, what I like and don't like about it.
It could be an interesting show. I won't step on your toes because this seems like this is a solo project, but I'd gladly be a guest and I'd love to show you my bathrooms.
Yeah, I'd love to use them.
All right, well, let's put a bow on this. I think we've been through enough tonight. We've covered some complicated Canadian crimes. We had a story involving a senior, which was unusual simply because it's in an arcade. Who would expect that? Who comes up with this stuff? We had the 25-year-old letter. And of course, we had some listener contributions along the way, which is my favorite part of the show, and it's your favorite part of the show as well. So I will end by thanking everyone who had their voicemail aired. Send me an email at nighttimepodcast@gmail.com. Give me your address, and I will send you a hot pink swag pack that includes your Keep Canada Weird correspondent badge. And if you want to represent the show even more, go to nighttimepodcast.com and click on the store. There's a whole bunch of new shirts and hats and hoodies and everything else there that you can use to spread the word of Keep Canada Weird. But with all that said, handsome Aaron Airport, until next time.
Jordan, bus stop, backhoe Bonaparte. Until next time.
Don't ever buy concert tickets on Facebook or online. Who knows what you're supporting by doing that, but it's not a good move. We've covered enough stories with people getting ripped off, be it Taylor Swift tickets to a big sporting event or whatever. It's don't buy that stuff online. Buy it through a trusted retailer. And if you are going to buy it online through a sketchy site, use PayPal goods and services purchases because they have purchase protection. And if anyone doesn't accept that, they're probably just trying to rip you off.
Yeah, and Jordan, until next time, if you're ever having issues with technology when you are older, I just want you to know that I'll be watching you and I will help you.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. If you've got a news story from your area that you'd like to share with us, or have any thoughts or theories or opinions on anything we discussed tonight, we'd love to hear from you. You can contact us by using the voice recorder that can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. And on that topic, I want to give a big thank you to this episode's correspondents. If your voice message was aired tonight, you can email me your address. My email is nighttimepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll get a Keep Canada Weird badge and swag pack sent out to you. I just ask that you wear the badge proudly and responsibly. Next, a big thanks goes out to Aaron for another great night, you, Nicole, for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data for the outro version of O Canada. And then, of course, a sincere and massive thank you goes out to each and every one of you listening. Your support makes this show possible. And if you'd like to support the show even more, please consider a subscription to the premium feed, which can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/subscribe. The premium feed costs just a couple dollars a month, but that money will fund the creation of new episodes of the show, and it'll give you those episodes 2 days early, ad-free, and access to a back catalog of episodes. And even if you don't want to go premium, you can still support the show by sharing this episode on social media. That helps a lot too, and it's free. Your support is very much appreciated. So with all that said, until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and together, let's keep Canada weird.
Keep Canada Weird is written, hosted, and produced by the Nighttime Podcast.
And now to our viewers and listeners everywhere. Good night.
How much you got left in there?
A fair amount, actually.
Okay, I'm at probably a third of it left. And I'm savoring every drink. I mean it when I say this stuff is awesome. Randy called me. Here, let's do something fun. Randy called me asking if he should buy it. He's called me. He's like, I'm at the grocery store. I saw you post about that orange cream Coca-Cola. Should I get it? And I talked him into it. I'll call him and see if he has it.
Yeah. Okay.
He won't hear you, but let's be quick.
Hey,
you back?
Yes.
So, what's the verdict? Did you buy it?
I didn't try it yet. I'm waiting for it to chill.
Go grab one. It's good cold. It's good even a little warm. Just go grab one right quick and take a drink for me.
Okay, hold on. I was actually drinking the sparkling water orange cream soda.
Yeah, it's nothing compared to this stuff.
Hold on.
I drink that when I go to Randy's house.
Yeah. Do you got it in the fridge now?
Yeah. Yeah, I just opened. Oh, that's great.
What's it like?
It's orangey. It's creamy. Delicate.
Is it giving orange creamsicle?
Yeah, it's giving orange creamsicle.
That's what I find. And it is caffeinated though, so don't go nuts.
I won't.
How many did you buy? Did you get a case of this stuff?
Yeah, I got a case. Yeah.
I like referring to pop as like a case. It sounds like you're talking about beer. You got a case?
Yeah, I got a 2-4.
For the 2-4. Well, there's a hockey game on next week, so I had to grab a case of these orange creamsicles. You get to it. We're live on air. I just wanted to get your reaction.
Oh, geez. Okay. Hey, keep Canada weird. And Aaron's there, I guess.
Yeah, he's here.
All right, gang.
All right. See you soon.
Signing off.
Enjoy your pop, my friend.
Thanks.
Bye.
See you. Bye.